Alright, Joe here, welcome back to We Need to Talk. Of course, this is the show that looks at football on the internet over the past 7 days. 7 days seeing the Football Daily boys celebrating England beating Germany at Box Park. Whilst they were at Box Park, I was celebrating beating Germany at Wembley. And whilst we were celebrating England, this was happening in Germany. Anyway, today we need to talk about transfers. Alright, we're back doing another tier list because I kind of get the feeling you guys at home are starting to get a little bit tired, a little bit bored of some of the Euro 2020 content because there's a lot of it out there at the moment. Although I am warning you, if England win tomorrow, my head's off. You won't see me for approximately 48 hours. I don't know where I'll be if England make the semi-finals of the Euros. Anyway, today we are back ranking transfer rumours. One from each Premier League club. I've tried to find the biggest and the best. I put a tweet out yesterday asking for your help. If you don't follow me on Twitter, go and follow me because I'm often asking for We Need to Talk help. Because I'm not that creative. Alright, same format we did a couple of weeks ago then. We've got 5 different categories. We've got no chance, we've got unlikely, we've got keep your eyes peeled, keep your eyes on it. You know, never know. We've got likely and we've got nailed on. It's very simple. I'm going to be placing each rumour into a tier. Alright then, enough messing about. Let's get into it. We're starting with Arsenal, aren't we? And we've got Locatelli doing the rounds at the moment. Sassuolo are farming him out to absolutely everyone at the moment. They've got big old cash signs running through their eyes right now, haven't they? Of course, the Sassuolo CEO was talking about an official bid from Arsenal, although he did go on to say, which concerns me, also Juventus want Locatelli and we've got a special relationship with them. We're scheduling a new meeting with Juve. That's just classic Serie A. I mean, this feels like the Sassuolo CEO trying to drum up extra business for Locatelli in order to get a better fee out of Juventus, to be totally honest with you. I'm very unconvinced. I think he's a good player. 23 is a good age. But Arsenal, with the signing of Albert Lokonga in there, I think they probably got Ruben Neves slightly ahead of Locatelli in their thinking. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I'm going to put Locatelli in unlikely. Not in no chance, but he's going to end up at Juventus. All right, next up, we've got Tammy Abraham to Aston Villa. Now, this one does intrigue me because, of course, he's still only 23 years old. He's obviously not in Thomas Tuchel's first team plans. Apparently, he's been told as much. He can leave for about £40 million, if you believe the reports. I think it was just 12 Premier League starts last year, but he did still score 6 goals. I think he is a very decent Premier League goal scorer, and I think he would score a lot of goals at Villa. My problem with this move is they don't play a front two, so what happens to Ollie Watkins if you bring Tammy Abraham in for 40 million? And that feels like a lot to spend for Aston Villa. I know he's played there before on loan. I know he's played under Dean Smith. I just think they'll have other priorities, Villa, and £40 million is probably going to end up being too much money for them to spend on Tammy. This is also going in unlikely. Next up, we've got Joe Worrell from Nottingham Forest to Brentford. Brentford rumours are always quite hard to find, but this one does seem to be popping at the moment. Of course, very consistent for Forest. I think 31 starts last year. Would have had probably the maximum if he didn't have had coronavirus, I think he had, and picked up a couple knocks. But season before that, started every single game. Massively important for Nottingham Forest, and I know they don't want to sell him. But the rumoured fee is about £12 million, which seems low, given they got 16 mil for Matty Cash, didn't they? And Joe Worrell is not as good as Matty Cash, I don't think, but he's as vital to Forest right now as Matty Cash. So I think this would be an interesting signing for Brentford, who are definitely trying to improve that back line, probably trying to find a centre-back partner for Pinnock. I'm going to go keep your eyes on this one. Next up, we've got Brighton, and this one's really come out of the blue. A lot of people told me about this one on Twitter, actually. It's Adnan Januzaj. Huh? What? Now, the reason he's been touted around is because his contract's up in 2022. Real Sociedad, of course, paid €8 million to get hold of the Belgian. Didn't go to Euro 2020, which I'm sure he will have been pretty disappointed about. But I don't see it happening. I think Sociedad want to give him a new contract. He kind of wants a new challenge. Is that new challenge Brighton? Feels like a big old step down, in my opinion. I've seen him linked with Southampton. Even that, in my opinion, might be too much of a step down. I think he probably wants some form of European football, Adnan Januzaj. If he's going to get it, I'm not so sure. But for me, this is just a no-hoper. Okay, next up, we're going to Burnley, aren't we? And this one's Connor Roberts. Of course, had a pretty good Euros with Wales. They did crash out in pretty disappointing fashion towards the back end. But overall, I'd say a relative success. He has only got 1 year left on his contract as well at Swansea. And he is very consistent. He's very Burnley. He's very Sean Dyche, I would say. 44 appearances last season for what was a very good Swansea defence. And, you know, Matt Loughton started, I think, 34 games at right back. They might be thinking Matt Loughton needs a bit of competition in there. I'm going to put Connor Roberts in that likely category. I think he's quite a Sean Dyche player. Next up, we've got Declan Rice. Now, this transfer is bubbling away nicely under the surface. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen this summer. I think it will probably be next season. But, of course, he's now rejected 2 contract offers from West Ham. Apparently, they haven't yet offered him as much as Andrei Yarmolenko's on at the club. What? Again, what? I think he wants to leave, doesn't he? He probably fancies himself to be able to play Champions League football, and I back it as well, given some of these performances at Euro 2020. Still only 22, but yeah, I think he'll be priced out of a move this summer. I don't think anybody's going to pay £100 million for him. I think next summer, a year further down the line on that contract, it might be more realistic. So I'm going to say this one's unlikely. Next up, another totally bizarre one. We've got William Saliba to Crystal Palace. Now, I don't know how this has come about. Palace obviously need centre-backs after the clear out. They've got Patrick Vieira through the door. So in my head, a couple of lazy journalists have probably gone, Vieira, what clubs has he been linked to in the past? Well, Nice, he was the manager of, and, you know, Saliba played there, even though they didn't crossover. Saliba joined in January and Vieira was fired in December. Then another lazy journalist has gone, well, he's also, you know, ex-Arsenal legend. He might go back to Arsenal and get players. William Saliba. I think this is very, very far-fetched, in my opinion, William Saliba going to Crystal Palace. This has just got no chance written all over it. I'm sorry, Palace fans, but I just don't see a world in which Saliba's playing at Selhurst Park next year. Next up, we've got another Euro 2020 sensation. Kind of. It's Denzel Dumfries. I think he has been one of the outstanding players at the tournament, to be fair to him, playing as that right wing-back in the Dutch system. He's a bit of a system player, I think. I can't see him playing and operating as a right-back. He's extremely advanced when he's at his best for this Netherlands side, often getting in behind the back line. That's how high he's playing, or was playing, under De Boer, of course, before they crashed out in pretty humiliating fashion. And Roger Schmidt has kind of said, look, him and Donyell Malen are going to leave the club. We've just got to accept that. I think Donyell Malen's probably going to go to Dortmund. I don't necessarily think Liverpool's the right move for him. And Denzel Dumfries has got a club like Everton written through him like a stick of Brighton Rock. And I do think if Rafa Benitez goes to the back three, which is quite likely, we've seen him operate in that system quite recently, and Everton have the personnel to do it. You know, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, Ben Godfrey as the 3 centre-halves. You can see Digne as a left wing-back. I think Seamus Coleman, although he is 32, can operate as a right wing-back, and his minutes have kind of gradually declined. 2,500, 1,800, 1,600 most recently. I can see Denzel Dumfries coming in as that right wing-back from PSV. It's not going to be a huge fee. 30 million euros, they're sort of talking. He's 25. Don't think this is an awful signing. I always worry about signing players after a good international tournament, though. Because is he actually that good? Or did he just have 5 good games? So I think this one is going to be in the... Shut up, washing machine, would ya? Anyway, suspense over. I think this one is going to be in the likely category. Next up, we go into Leeds. And this one, I actually wrote off, I think, 2 weeks ago when he was linked to Southampton. It's Junior Firpo. I didn't see Southampton as the type of club to be able to lure him. I thought it was much more likely he was going to end up at AC Milan. AC Milan ain't got the money to buy him on a permanent deal. They want to take him on loan. So he is available for 15 million euros. And Leeds are all over that purchase. I just trust Marcelo Bielsa to get the best out of a player like Junior Firpo. I think it's probably an upgrade on Alioski, to be honest with you. I know that Stuart Dallas can also play as that left back, but also he can play in about 22 positions, so I'm not too fussed about where Stuart Dallas ends up. I think Firpo represents something of a risk, but if you can get that Betis form out of him when he was under Setien, then you are going to get a very exciting player. So I think this one, I'm going to stick it nailed on. This one seems like it's going to actually happen. Birds as well. Shut the up. Next up then, we're moving to Leicester. Ryan Bertrand. This one, I mean, this one might even be announced as a sort of deal today. I don't know, maybe. But this one's going to be nailed on. They need left-back cover. Ryan Bertrand's a free agent. He's probably on pretty cheap wages. Obviously, they've got James Justin coming back from a really significant injury. Luke Thomas can play there as well. He had a pretty decent back end of the season. Castagne is coming off the back of what now seems like a pretty major facial injury. Ryan Bertrand, solid, fine, 7 out of 10 player. This one will do. Moving on to Liverpool now then. And Renato Sanchez has been linked a lot over the last 7 days. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't know what to make of it because he has been, or had been, incredible at this Euros. One of my favourite players to watch in the midfield. He is so strong. He's so progressive with the ball at his feet. I think he is and can be a brilliant footballer. However, it does represent heavy risk. I think anything more than 40 million euros might be an overpayment for a player who hasn't started more than 16 games in a league season since he broke through. Even at Lille, where he was pretty good last year, he only started 14 games, and towards the back end of the season, Benjamin Andre and Boubakary Samare were that double pivot that really carried them. So I think he's a good player. I have big concerns about that injury record. Do I see him as an out-and-out Gini Wijnaldum replacement? Probably not. I think Gini Wijnaldum is a huge sacrificer for the team in terms of his output. You know, you've seen what he can do with Netherlands when he gets into the box. For Liverpool, he plays that reserved role to allow others to flourish. I'm not sure Renato Sanchez is a like-for-like in that way. And I also think in the back of Renato's mind, he would think Liverpool, Thiago, Fabinho, Jordan Henderson is a locked-in 3 next season. Naby Keita's at the club. I'm going to have to come in and scrap for minutes. I'm not sure he would be willing to take that step yet either after the Bayern Munich fiasco. I don't think this is a particularly good fit for a number of those reasons, so I'm putting this in unlikely. Moving on then to Jackie Grealish. I don't think I did this last week or the week before. I think it was Harry Kane we were talking about then, so let's talk about Jack Grealish going to Manchester City. This would be a phenomenal signing. If they can get Harry Kane and Jack Grealish, the Premier League is a write-off. But I don't think they will. I don't see how they can afford both of those players. They would have to sell significant assets, and I think Harry Kane is way higher in their priority list than Jack Grealish. For me, Grealish will stay at Villa. I don't think he'll sign that new contract, and then he might leave next summer. A little bit akin to Declan Rice. I think this is just a no-chancer. Jack Grealish, oh God, don't join City. I'm putting him in no chance just because my heart will break if he goes. All right, let's move on to Manchester United then. Big old rumour this one. Raphael Varane. Of course, United completed that deal for Jadon Sancho. £73 million. No add-ons. Serious value, in my opinion, especially as it's split across 5 years. But Rafa Varane, I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I really am sceptical about this move. This has Rafa Varane signs new contract amidst Manchester United interest written all over it. Seriously. I just don't believe he actually wants out of Madrid. I think he wants a new deal at the club on improved terms with a very, very clear role under Carlo Ancelotti, and he'll sign that new contract. I think Manchester United are probably being used here, as they have in the past, by Sergio Ramos, by Raphael Varane himself, to get those improved terms. If he signs, it's a brilliant signing for United, and the partnership with Maguire looks on paper like it would really work. You know, two players in the prime of their football, Raphael Varane having slightly better covering speed in behind Harry Maguire, who can carry the ball out. It works on paper. I just think he's going to sign a new deal, though. I'm super sceptical about this one. I'll put it and keep your eyes on, because, you know, it's just continuously being reported at this stage. But for me, it's not going to happen. Newcastle then, we've got Rafa Silva here. Now, of course, Newcastle tried to sign Rafa Silva back in 2019 under a fellow Rafa, Benitez. And they do need a bit of a goal threat. They need some creativity going forward, don't they? I think Callum Wilson, most assists and most goals last year. Joe Willock obviously pitched in with 8 towards the back end of the season. I think he got 7 in a row. He's not coming back to the club. So they need some impetus going forward, really, Newcastle. Is Rafa Silva the guy to provide that at 28, having never been able to escape the Portuguese league? I'm not so sure. Not a huge creator. 1.5 key passes per 90. He's pretty versatile, plays in a few different positions, and we've seen him come on and have an okay impact for Portugal at Euro 2020. I mean, let's put it in, keep your eyes peeled. I don't want to write it off. It's just... yeah. As for Norwich then, we've got Christopher Ajer. Now, they are sort of in competition with Bayer Leverkusen for his signature out of Celtic. I was speaking to Chris Hamill, and we go into a little bit more depth about this on Sunday Vibes, actually. I'm not sure on this one. Apparently, Celtic are looking for about 13 million quid. Norwich, I think, have bid 10. Bayer have bid about 8. And both sides are like, we don't really want to pay more than £10 million for a player who's approaching the end of his contract and is pretty desperate at this stage to leave the club. I think Christopher Ajer has his eye set on something bigger than Norwich, even though he might see it as a stepping stone. I think Leverkusen is the more likely club, so I'm going to say unlikely. Okay, Brandon Williams is up next then, and this one is being linked with Southampton yet again. Southampton need to get some business done, man. I know they've signed Theo Walcott, but wasn't he there on loan or something over the last couple of seasons? To be honest with you, they just need to get bodies through the door, because Ryan Bertrand's gone. They need that left-back slot covered. Brandon Williams would represent an okay addition in there, I think. Manchester United would be keen to keep hold of him, though, unless Diogo Dalot remains at the club. If Diogo Dalot stays at the club and doesn't go back out on loan, Williams will be let go. Do I think it's an upgrade on Ryan Bertrand? Not really. I mean, let's put it in likely, because I can see this one happening, to be honest with you, if Southampton need fullback cover, and he was on the verge of joining them in January as well, of course. So let's put it in likely, but again, I'm worried about Southampton this summer, I really am. Tottenham Hotspur are up next then. Finally got a manager, boys. Only took 70 days and 11 candidates to finally go to the guy that you could have had after 2 weeks, Nuno. But yeah, the link here is, of course, Jules Koundé. I've gone with Koundé. Out of Sevilla, I mean, Paratici's punching for the stars if he thinks he can get Koundé out of Sevilla for anything less than sort of 60 to 80 million, which I don't think Tottenham can afford unless they sell Harry Kane. I think it's much more likely they're going to go for the Bologna lad and Joachim Anderson. Don't think they'll bring 3 centre-backs into the club. And also, Koundé's probably thinking, I want to be playing for clubs in the Champions League. I don't want to be playing for Tottenham, who are in the Conference League right now. Real Madrid are interested in me. Don't see this one happening. I think this is just a no-chancer. Sorry, Spurs fans, but too much money. Not the right fit for Koundé. And also, you're going to go for Joachim Anderson and the Bologna lad that I keep forgetting his name of. Sorry. Okay, as for Watford then, we've got Eddie Nketiah coming in here. I think this is one to keep your eyes peeled on. Keep your eyes on, because although they don't necessarily need a striker, I think Joao Pedro is going to play through the middle, isn't he? I think Arsenal are going to let Nketiah go this summer. I feel like that Balogun contract probably suggests he's the one that's going to be let go, and he's got just 1 year left on his deal. Want to cash in on him. Will it be to Watford? Not so sure. I think it will be some form of Premier League club. I don't necessarily think it'll end up being Leverkusen. I've seen that rumour sort of piquing people's interest as well. For me, Watford... Does he want to go to Watford and be sort of competing with João Pedro? Watford fans, you're going to have to tell me more on this one because I'm not massively clued up on that squad. Would he start over João Pedro? Would João Pedro move out wide? I know Ismaila Sarr is going to be a nailed-on starter there for you as well. How would that work? Let me know in the comments below. For now, I'm putting him in. Keep your eyes on. West Ham then, and Milenkovic is the player that has been linked here. I'm going to initially stick it in unlikely because he feels like a Juventus signing right now, Milenkovic. I know he's available for that sort of £15 million fee. Juventus look like they're going to try and shift Demiral on, and if Demiral does get shifted on, then Milenkovic might well be a target for them because, you know, contract's up in 2022. Fiorentina are quite keen to cash in, I think, at this stage. And he is a pretty decent player. West Ham could do a lot worse than getting Milenkovic through the door, and I'm sure a lot of West Ham fans will be excited about that move. But he's going to end up at Juventus. I just think Locatelli, Milenkovic, these players dream of playing for Juventus, not necessarily West Ham and Arsenal. So I think Milenkovic to West Ham is unlikely. Final player then, this one is joke. Moussa Sissoko to Wolves. Moussa Sissoko to Wolves. Where to start? I want to put it in nailed on just because this is a hilarious rumour. And that shot for France against Switzerland where he came on at right back is, oh my God, when it went 80 yards over the bar on the floor. Whoa. I mean, I'll put it in keep your eyes on because I can't even process Moussa Sissoko moving to Wolves. It's such a chaotic move. That I will leave it and keep your eyes on. But Wolves fans, please let me know in the comments whether you actually want Moussa Sissoko to join the club. It's just so funny. Alright, so there we go. That was my sort of tier list of the week's biggest transfer rumours for every Premier League club. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Hit that like button as well if you're enjoying this content. It really does help. Make sure you go over to Eurofootball Daily, watch Continental Club and The Boys. I think they're talking about players to avoid. They're talking about transfers across Europe. You know the score by now. Much better debate than I can provide on this show, yeah. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.